have so many tumblers. I have glitter tumblers, tumblers with vinyl decals, and my favorite tumbler of all is a tumbler with my grandkids' handprints on it. Now, if you're anything like me, you are exactly the same. But I have found a way to make tumblers that you will love. It uses Waterslide paper, and the possibilities are literally endless. Well, hi guys, I am Barbara from BarbaraMakesCrafts.com, and I'm here to teach and inspire you to level up your crafting game. The list of supplies is going to be right here in this video, and be sure to subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss a single one of my videos like this. Let's head on over to Design Space and I'll show you exactly how to make these awesome tumblers. All right, so we've got this so that we can make it. So we're just going to go up here and click on Make It, and you can see that it's going to show two mats. 1 and 2, because it will not fit on one mat. We could do a 12 by 24, but our paper isn't that long. So from here, we'll just hit continue because it looks fine on the paper. And now we're going to send it to the printer. So now we'll just hit print. So now the Cricut is prompting us to select our material, and we are going to select premium vinyl. It says shimmer, but it'll be fine. And we're also going to add more pressure, and we're going to stay on remember material settings because we are going to be using more than one mat. Cricut is ready for us to load it in. We're just going to put it under guide bars there, and the Cricut will make sure I have enough, that I have the material and the mats large enough to cut the design, and it's going to use these registration marks. All right, so we'll unload, and bending it around a tumbler. So that one is printed, and we'll just pull that off and we'll be ready for the next step. That is going to be protecting it actually from the water and all that. So I'm just using a mat here, and I'm going to spray this with a clear sealer, and I'm using Rust-Oleum Universal Advanced Sealer. I just got it, I think, at Home Depot, but you could get it at Walmart or on Amazon or wherever. So I'm just going to spray the Waterslide paper really well. Just to kind of coat it and protect it. And we need to put 2 or maybe 3 coats of it on there. So I'm going to let this dry and put a second coat on, and then I'll be back and we'll put it on the tumbler. All right, so I have sprayed these twice and let it dry, and I have prepared the tumbler by putting painter's tape just across the inside of the tumbler and along that top edge right there. This is to keep epoxy from getting in, and the top edge, because that is where I want the Waterslide decal to stop, so that edge right there is clean. Plus I don't want epoxy here either. And you can see I've got my little insert to make it fit on my cup turner, so I'm just gonna put that on there. So I'm gonna take the first piece of Waterslide paper. I've got some water right over here, and I'm gonna set it down in the water, and oh, it's curling up like nobody's business all of a sudden. So just long enough to get it wet so we can get that backing off. You don't want it too wet, or it's going to give you problems when you try to put it on your tumbler. All right, the ends are trying to curl up on me a little bit, but that's okay. All right, so carefully put it, just lining it up. And I want to cut this right here on top of the cup. Use my True Control knife so that I can get a nice straight cut, and I have to be very careful not to cut through the second layer here. Just to be sure I've got a really good wrinkle-free. Okay, I think that's good. So let's go ahead and mix up our epoxy. Now, you want to do this in a well-ventilated area, so you do want to use gloves, and I like to use silicone cups to mix the epoxy in. I'm going to put my silicone mat underneath my cup turner, and this mat will any dripping resin will fall onto the mat, and once it dries again, it comes right off. All right, so this is a two-part epoxy. You have an A side and a B side, and this is just amazing clear cast. And I'll be sure and link to all these products below so you can go straight to them and find them easily. If you have a heat gun, you can try to get the air bubbles out before we put it in the part B and stir it, because that will help once your epoxy. We're just going to put a very thin coat of the epoxy. All right, so this has to dry. Epoxy needs to dry about 24 hours. It needs to dry at least 6 to 8 hours. It needs to turn so that you don't get the resin pooling up. And then once it has turned for 6 to 8 hours, we can remove it from the cup turner if we want to and let it dry overnight. All right, so I let this spin overnight, and I let it sit for 24 hours to cure, so the epoxy is good and dry. Look how great it turned out. There's still a couple little rough spots I need to work with, but there's no epoxy down inside the tumbler. I did cut that bottom off, so everything is nice and neat. So if you like this video, be sure and hit the like button and leave me an emoji in the comments. It would really, really make my day. So until I see you next time, happy crafting!